really special guest with me, and we're going to be talking to Nicoline Refsing. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you so much for having us here in your office. I know you're really, really busy.
Well, thanks for coming. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. I wanted to catch up with you because you're a well-known figure around the Eurovision circuit, the Eurovision world. Everybody knows your name if they've not seen your face before, so this will be a nice chance for them to see who you are. So first of all, just tell us a bit about you, where you grew up. I know you studied art and that was your passion. Tell us a bit about where you're from.
I'm from Denmark originally, grew up in Copenhagen, and I think my childhood was always very exposed to art and music. I grew up in a commune, and everybody was playing music, admittedly rock music, not so much pop. And there was artists, and I think I was probably about 4 when I had my first box of pastels and, a canvas, and, so it was always very
arty family,
very
arty
creative,
background.
yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And you now run your own company. Tell us a bit about that. Rock art.
Rock art design, yeah. I started rock art design. It's nearly 6 years ago now. Came to London to work for Mark Fisher and Stu Fish. So music was my big passion, and I thought if you could visualize and extend the expression of the artist, what they've got on their heart, and get that through either in a live performance on a concert or as a TV performance, I thought that would be really strong. So that was sort of my passion, and the reason why I wanted to work for Mark, because he was obviously the best. And then, so I was with Mark for about 6 years, and then I started my own business. And we do more and more. With Mark, it was primarily design. I started to do a bit of creative direction, a bit of show branding. And I think, having rock art design is more, we've been able to explore that even more. So I do a lot of creative direction now, where we sort of put the whole creative together, so we control the expression much more. And yeah, Eurovision, I really enjoy those jobs. It's very, very good fun.
Sure. Yeah. Before we talk about Eurovision, I know you've done lots of other things, and I was looking through your the piece on your website, and one of the things that you had done is the National Television Awards, which I had been at about 5 or 6 years ago, probably. Yeah. Some of the ones that you've done. So just tell us about some of the other things you've done, and then we'll definitely come and talk about Eurovision.
Yeah, it's true. I did the National Television Awards for, I think I designed 3 shows for them at the time, where they moved from Royal Albert Hall to O2 Arena and had to scale up and make that work for the whole arena show. And I also worked...
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Brucey, Mr. Bruce Forsyth.
All right. It's nice to see you. I've always wanted to do that at the O2. Bigger audience. I've never had such a big audience, but thank you. It's really, really marvellous. Louis. But it does mean an awful lot. And for you, Stephen, to present the prize, that gives it a bit of class, doesn't it? It really does give it a bit of class. I thank you. It's been a wonderful year for me last year. I did so many things I'd never done before, and I love doing them all. The Who Do You Think You Are, and of course Strictly, and my team of Strictly, Tess, and all of you. You work so hard, and we thank you so much. It's a pleasure to work with you. And I suppose this being this kind of a night, I suppose it possibly would be a good night to announce my retirement. But I'm not bloody going to.
And I also worked on how to tell the story of the brand, so that story sort of came through both on the live side for the audience experience, but also on the telly side.
From the audience point of view, it was great fun. I sat there and we had a great time, me and my friends. So well done. Thank you for funning out.
Then I designed the Brit Awards for, I think, 5 years. We've done the obviously the Eurovision is another big one for me. Did the Duke of Edinburgh Awards earlier this year as sort of an event, a big gala event, which was interesting because it was more like a 360 or total theatre experience, but sort of working with the same things. And we created everything. We created the design, providing the lighting design, did the content for the projections and screens. So so that was also very interesting.
That's great. And Eurovision, obviously.
Eurovision, yeah.
Obviously, you've been around that for a while now. When was your first one? Do you remember?
My first one was back in 2014.
Okay.
Where I was creative director and content producer for the whole show.
Yeah.
So a little bit different to what we do now.
Let's talk about 2014 then. So you had overall creative direction for the show. So we were in Copenhagen, in a boatyard, in an old warehouse. Just tell us how that process goes from sort of getting a call from the Danish broadcaster and saying, "Hi, can you come and help us?" What happens next? How does that work?
Well, we literally hit the ground running because Pia called me, the director, Pia Zachariasen, called me, I think, just before Christmas or during December and said, you know, we really need your help. And can you? And I said, oh, it's fine. Free up the time to come and help you and do it. And I think over Christmas we sort of just got the grips with what the set was like, what the show was about, and their ambition, and started visualizing different ideas, because that was another big part of that job. So we created the 37 performances and supplied the content for it, but it was also trying to get everybody's vision of what they had in mind for this show and started visualizing it, because if you've seen our website, that's something we're very strong at, you know, visualizing and saying, so we do, you know, sort of visual contracts saying, okay, so it's this, and is this what you imagine it would be, so we can test the camera angles and see how everything works with the set and the screen and all of those things. So that was a big part of that job as well, sort of making sure that everybody, all the stakeholders we were working to the same brief, and once we agreed that the set was right and did a few adjustments to make it work, then we started cracking with the countries.
Fantastic. I mean, it's gone down, just the overall stage and look of 2014 has sort of gone down in the Eurovision fan world as one of the best stages and one of the best productions.
Oh, has it?
Yeah, that stage is very often talked about when you get people doing polls of what was your favourite stage. You always see 2014, and the 2014 show comes up really well. So that's a message for you, for the Eurovision fans. It comes up a lot. People talk about 2014.
Thank you. I think one of the things that really succeeded on that show was the storytelling. Mm-hmm. I thought the way we worked, it was we were a very little creative group actually working. So it was Pia and Kasper Lange, who did the lighting, and Torte Lund and we sort of developed these all the briefs together, and I think keeping that small and focused was really really strong. But also the way we worked together, I thought we complemented each other very well. And I thought Pia was, you know, with the way he was shooting the show, I thought he was extraordinary in telling the stories. And obviously we supplied as much content and storytelling, and I designed a few sets as well to emphasize that storytelling. And I think, yeah, my vision for that show was that I wanted everybody to feel unique. I wanted everybody to feel they had a completely unique look that worked with them and their song and their lyrics and their personalities, you know. So for some it was, you know.
And I think, you know, to sort of reflect that back, I'm just thinking of sort of 3 of the very strong sort of female performances that we had that year. All could have been very similar. I'm thinking of Sanna Nielsen, of Ricky Renzo and Conchita, of course.
Yeah.
All could have been quite similar because you've got one solo performer on the stage, yet each one told its own story. It was very, very unique. You know, Conchita's was very, the orange colour story, obviously the fire was excellent. The way that the glass stage was used, the video staging was used for Spain was amazing. And the lighting for Sweden is one, from my personal history, best lit performance ever, I think. So, yeah, I see how you're trying to tell a different story with different songs.
I mean, a lot of the time we would get briefs from the countries, and then we had to make sure that they looked different enough, you know, so they were all telling their different stories.
Because...
And then you've got the running order as well to help you, that you can move things around. So you make sure that, you know, some of them works with the big space, some with the more confined, some with the lighting, some with the colours, you know. So you try to vary that to make the best possible show for the viewers at home.
Yeah. And I guess when, you know, when Austria submit their sort of plans and Spain submit, they don't know what each other have submitted, so then that's up to you to kind of tie it all together and make it work as a
and
as a
also,
show.
you know, I made a big effort because there was a lot of people who wanted sunrises and, you know, but to tell people and say, somebody else is doing that, so do you want to copy something that's already in the show?
Yeah.
Or we've got a proposal which is not taken, so here it is, and you can possibly use that.
Wow. So the night of the final, obviously you were there, and you were watching it. Were you really pleased? Because it's only really then when you see it. Well, I guess you've seen the rehearsals and everything, but when you finally see it go out on the transmission broadcast, do you kind of get to the end of it and go, yes, we did it?
I know before, because all my work is done before. So, you know, whether I do the set design or do the content or the creative, I know before. So, you know, I love that moment that, you know, it's out of my control. We've done everything we could. We've built it up. We've been running as fast as we could. We've given it all the best. And then somebody else has to take it and deliver it the rest of the way. And I think that's lovely.
So you're quite relaxed at the final. You're like, yay, my work is done. I can enjoy the show.
For the after party.
Exactly, and that's always good fun.
No, obviously, you know, following it, but, you know, if anything goes wrong, we can't, you know, at that point, I can't do anything about it.
True.
And, you know, you just have to trust and leave it to everybody else to deliver.
Yeah, absolutely. So moving on from 2014, so you did the show in 2014, and then 2015 comes around and you start getting some calls. So we've moved to Vienna.
Yeah.
So now your job has changed within Eurovision Song Contest. Tell us what you're kind of doing now, 2015 and 2016.
15 I was doing Aminata for Latvia, the rep performance, if you remember. So I think I've always done a lot of band performances on the Brit Awards and you know, different award shows, and the Eurovision just I thought it was different because obviously you have the bands, but you also have the individual culture of the different countries, and I loved that. I loved all the craziness and, you know, the whole of Europe coming together and, you know, trying to create this amazing show. So I thought it was interesting to sort of continue to work with the countries and
continue. She did. Nicolina went on to work in 2015 with Aminata from Latvia, creating that beautiful scene on stage with the red dress that everybody remembers. She then went on 2016 to work with Dami Im from Australia, giving them their highest ever result, and they came in second, and also with Francesca Nicolina from Italy.
strada nel mio petto senza spegnere la voce.
Nicoline was back at the Eurovision Song Contest in 2017, taking creative direction for Ireland. You'll remember it with the great big hot air balloon, and also with Switzerland, Time Bells, Apollo.
It is never easy. I follow you, Apollo. I follow you, Apollo.
And so we look forward to 2018 and what Nicoline will bring to the show next year, which countries she'll be working with, and what amazing shows she'll create for us in Lisbon.